What's up, guys? Winter Kills here, bringing you a discussion video. It's been a while since I did my last discussion video. I can't remember what it was on, maybe a new ban list or whatever. But here we are on another new ban list, I guess, or as they're calling it, a ban list adjustment. It's not actually a change that you could go on the website, at least not yet, I don't think, and see the actual updated list with these changes made. It's more of an amendment, I guess, to the list that will eventually be going into effect soon. I'll go ahead and read for you guys this picture here. Additionally, official tournament stores are free to use the adjusted list for their local events if they wish. Be sure and check with your official tournament store to confirm adjusted list events will use the posted, forbidden, and limited cards list with the following additional restrictions. Perform Age Plush Fire, forbidden. Damage Juggler, forbidden. Tellarknight Ptolemaeus, forbidden. Skullcrat Joker, limited. Monkey Board, limited. Luster Pendulum, limited. The full list applies everywhere. Forbidden and limited card lists will be updated in a month or two in its usual manner, and some, perhaps all of these adjusted list restrictions will likely get rolled into that. And some of you are going to ask, are we going to get an adjusted list from now on, halfway between FNL lists? The answer is probably not. This is an extreme case, but we'll see how things go. If you do attend a YCS event, be sure and come up to let us know your thoughts on this. So basically, what they've done is released an adjustment list prior to YCS Atlanta, and basically slaughtering Pepe and the whole deck in general by making these emergency, as they said in this extreme case here, emergency hit to the deck, this emergency list change. And the fact that they said they're not going to do this in between lists, forbidden and limited lists, I actually kind of don't like that. I kind of actually wish they would do this, and I kind of wish they'd actually release lists, on a schedule again. I kind of miss there not being a scheduled list change every so many months, because the format gets stale after a while, and I think that's really annoying. Playing against the same decks over and over again, they make the same plays. You have to make the same plays in response. You've got to side the same cards. You've got to do all the things the same, and everything just gets stale and boring. And you know what to expect every time you're going to play that deck, whether it be playing against Pepe or whether it was playing against Necraz or Shaddoll, or Burning Abyss, however you want to put it. It's the same thing applies here. And actually, I think if they didn't slaughter the deck like they did, let me put this into context like this. If they released an adjusted list or adjusted changes or a suggested list, I want to say, before they released an actual official ban list for that season or whatever, I think that'd actually be kind of nice, because it would allow the player base to give some feedback, some input, excuse me, some input, and kind of let Konami know their thoughts on what they're going to do, and maybe have this list, how it is here, apply for some events, and then see basically how that deck is represented, because right now Pepe is the overwhelmingly represented deck in any tournament. It's pretty much everybody's playing it, and then you have a few extra little things on the side like Cosmo, Atlanteans, and maybe Monarchs now, but the majority of the playing field is Pepe. So this list will probably cause a shrink in that, and maybe a rise in Cosmo and Atlantean or Monarchs even, and it's just gonna see a huge impact because of this list. But the thing is, if they had a list like this in between, you would get to and Konami would get to see as well in real time how the deck is doing with the hits they made, and like they said, in a month or two in its usual manner, and some, perhaps all of the adjusted list restrictions will likely get rolled into that. So they're not guaranteeing that all these changes are going to be permanent once the official list comes out. So with that being said, they might not limit Luster Pendulum. They might leave it at 3. Same thing with Monkey Board or Skullcrat Joker or Plush Fire. They might bring that back to 1, or Damage Juggler to 1, which I think is fair. Plush Fire I think is unfair and can use an errata, make it once per turn. But yeah, and if things turn out okay with this adjustment, then fine, keep all the changes. That's fine with me. That's fine with everybody else. If the deck is just unfairly destroyed. People will spend all the money on the cards to get the deck and play the deck, and have been testing with that deck for a while. And the way it is, it's just not fair to them to have this, deck destroyed instantly by this, ungodly ban hammer and limiting just going on right here. And I think it would give Konami to, actually look and see, okay, was this necessary? Okay, was this not necessary? And stuff like that. And another thing I want to say is that banning 3 cards and limiting 3 cards, I don't necessarily agree with. I know some of you are probably like, yo, I'm so happy this has happened. I'm sick and tired of losing to Pepe. I'm so tired of playing against Pepe. It's the same thing over and over again, and it's BS. The deck's overpowered. Get rid of it. And I partially agree with you. I don't like losing. I don't think anybody really likes losing, whether it be, in an unfair way or just basically getting outplayed or losing to somebody who's a more skillful player. Personally, in my opinion, maybe some of you will disagree with me or agree with me, I think this format, prior to this adjustment, is a lot more fair to play in than it was when we had Necroz with Jin legal. I think this format's a lot more fair, and I hope Konami can kind of keep that being a trend. If they're gonna make it clear what deck is gonna be the best, they got to be careful, because I'm sick and tired of getting it to the point where there's always one deck and it's just everybody's playing it, nothing can stand in its way, and then that's all the format is. I want there to be a number 1 deck, but I want there to be a deck that can compete with it and several others. It's okay if one's a little higher on the playing field than everybody else, but it shouldn't be a huge gap in between certain decks, because then there's no variety in the format, and the prices for some cards are just skyrocketing, because that's all everybody's looking for, and that's all everybody wants, and it's usually in a high rarity. Like, as we saw, Pendulum Sorcerer was like a $70, $100 card upon release date, and now that this list has come out, the card is plummeted down to $25. Yes, that's correct. You can now pick up a playset of Sorcerers for about the same price you could pick one up about a week ago. So that gives you a idea on anything. Well, there you go. And I think Luster Pendulums are now $10 a piece when they were $50, which is nice. I think the card should have never got to $50 in the first place. So that's my little thing on prices there. But with the obsessive limiting and forbidding stuff, I don't think it's healthy. I think they can't keep making super powerful archetypes and have them go on for so long and just keep destroying them and just getting rid of them for good. I think hitting Plush Fire to 1, or maybe just giving it an errata, hitting Damage Juggler to 2 or 1 would have been fine. Banning Ptolemaeus, I don't know if it's exactly necessary, because that hurts Tellarknights. I don't know how much they actually use that card, but I'm sure they use it to get Diamond out a lot faster, however relevant Diamond is right now. But the main problem was the gateway to Infinity that allowed a lot of everybody else to play. You can't just give every deck in the game access to an archetype-specific card that is extremely powerful, like Cyber Dragon Infinity. I don't think that's necessary. I'm glad that Cyber Dragon Infinity is a part of the meta. I'm glad the card is finally here. As somebody who used to play Cyber Dragons when I got back into the game mid-2014, I thought, looking back at it now, I'm like, oh man, it would be really cool to have a card like this, because, Cyber Dragon Nova isn't the greatest play, but it's still a very good Xyz to go into. But now that we have Infinity, it's like, oh, it gives the deck a standing chance. And same thing with Cyber Rampage Dragon, which is the new fusion that came out in Bosch. Also helps the deck out. And I think it's good that they brought that card here, and I think all the Cyber Dragon players are very happy about that. But then you have a card like Ptolemaeus, which when it first came out, people were like, oh, it's alright. I don't think, Tellarknights are going to be using this card, as much as they're going to be using Triver and Delta Rose as their go-to Xyz. But now every deck is using it because it's generic. It's archetype specific in its name, but not how you summon it. Triver, you need Tellarknight monsters to make it. But Ptolemaeus just allows you, hey, slap a Nova on top of this, slap an Infinity on top of this. And you're just abusing and one card that was meant for Cyber Dragons, now everybody has access to it, and I don't think that's healthy. I think they should have had a restriction on it that allowed it to only be overlaid over a Cyber Dragon Xyz, or just put it over Cyber Dragon Nova, period, and that's it. Or, at least allow the player base to come up with a more creative way for the deck to have access to it, because you do need 3 level 6 machine type monsters in order to legit summon Ptolemaeus. And I think it would have been really cool to see Deskbots play it and do it like that, because I'm pretty sure they have Deskbot 6 as level 6, obviously, and you could just pendulum summon them out somehow, and there you go, make your legit Infinity. But like I said, sometimes archetype specific cards come out, and then you have a gateway card like Ptolemaeus, which gives every deck the ability to use it, and it's just not good. But I don't know if banning Ptolemaeus was necessary. I mean, I guess you have to, because every deck that was playing Infinity was playing just one copy of Ptolemaeus, so you can't hit it to 1 because that won't change anything. And I think hitting Cyber Dragon Infinity wouldn't be fair at all. I think, I think Ptolemaeus banned is more fair than hitting Infinity, because Tower Knights, we all know, they won Worlds. They didn't get hit as much as I thought they should have. They only got hit, they got Rhoda to 1, and that's it. Now they have Solemn Strike, and they have Nova still at 3. Like, what the hell? I think this is okay, but because you can still go into Diamond, you don't need Ptolemaeus. But I guess, yeah, having a Xyz change card like that allows like Pleiades to come out and allows Infinity to come out, I guess it's kind of good to get rid of that card once and for all, and hopefully it doesn't come back until the card is power creep, which, hey, it eventually will happen, most likely. Skullcrat Joker to 1. I think that's okay. It's a really good searcher. It's your Stratos of the deck. I think that's fine. Monkey Board limited. Yeah, Luster Pendulum to 1. I don't know. I think all they really needed is just to errata Plush Fire to once per turn, and leave it at that and see how it goes. But like, as you can see, this is a very powerful deck, and this is what happens at the ban list. When they are overrepresented and they just dominate anything. And then here you'll see the errata for Sorcerer, which basically just explains that they don't need to be monsters destroyed, because there was some confusion, but the card actually checks to see if they're monsters when they're in the extra deck, not when they're being destroyed. So either way, it's just clearing up confusion that they do not have to be monsters to search stuff. So you can pop your Pendulum Scales for Sorcerer. And then at the bottom they say, we hope the adjusted list will improve everyone's enjoyment at the tournament level, except Pepe players. Thank you for your continued support and happy dueling. Well, thank you very much for that. But like I said, it's obsessive. Is it necessary? I don't think Damage Juggler was that unfair. I honestly think that card does not need to be banned. Some of you may disagree with me, and if so, let me know in the comments below. I mean, Valk did the same thing, basically, and it was honestly a little bit better in a sense, because with that, you can go and draw cards with, and it ends the battle phase as well. Damage Juggler didn't end the battle phase, it just absorbed damage for 1 attack, really. And I guess it does allow for some cool combos, but I don't think banning it was necessary. Plush Fire definitely should have went to 1 if they weren't going to errata it. Skullcrat Joker, I guess, had 1, and already said the other stuff. Ignister will be less prominent, just because, you've got the 1 luster to go with it, but they can still play Mass Chameleon and stuff. I think the deck is just going to start to go back to pre-Bosch Pepe. I think Pepe was, a deck that could stand up to it. I think Pepe was the kind of deck that, before Bosch, that, like, you had DDDs, other decks, that could keep pace with it. Like, I'm a DDD player, and I think now that Pepe is hit, the deck can keep up with it now, and I think that's actually a good thing. it allows a lot of other decks to sort of keep up with it. I don't know what Cosmo is going to end up looking like in the next couple months, or Monarchs, what they'll be doing, how much of a effect this will have down the line. Who knows? But I think now it's going to go back to pre-Bosch, when the deck actually was fair, I guess. I mean, the deck is still kind of fair regardless of this hit, but before Bosch, it was a little more acceptable because things could keep pace with it still. I mean, I've beaten, not to toot my own horn or anything or brag, but I've beaten Pepe several times with D2D prior to this list, prior to Bosch, and it actually wasn't that hard. But now, I think a lot of decks can breathe now that this has happened, and they can sort of come to the forefront. We'll see a change in player representation and what decks they're playing. But yeah, this list will not be in effect for YCS Atlanta, so it's going to be full-on Pepe Slaughter at YCS Atlanta, or maybe we'll see a rogue top of something else. Who knows? Anyways, I want to hear your guys' feedback down in the comment section below, so if you're thinking up something right now, go ahead and just put it in the comments, and I'll see what you guys have to say. So thank you so much for watching. We enjoyed this little rant video, discussion video. Leave a like if you did enjoy it. Leave your comments on the comment section below. Go ahead and subscribe if you are new. The support is greatly appreciated, guys. Cannot thank you enough for that. As always, Winter Kills signing out. We'll see you in the next one.